their local emergency management officials on evacuations.
Well, let me ask you once again, just put the strength of this current hurricane in context for viewers who are watching right now and who may say, you know what, we can ride it out.
This is the strongest hurricane we've had on record in the Atlantic area, in the open Atlantic. It's now approaching the coast and will be over the next 3 to 4 days at an intensity that's comparable to what we've seen in some of the strongest hurricanes that have ever hit the U.S., including Hurricane Andrew. We're very hopeful that the center will turn away before it makes landfall, but we don't know that's actually going to happen, so people need to prepare for the worst, first for the southern Florida Peninsula and the Florida Keys.
When will we know if it's going to hit South Florida in the worst possible case? Can you hear me? I think we may have lost Ed Rappaport. Ed, can you hear me?
We lost Ed.
I think we lost Ed Rappaport. We'll try to reconnect with Ed Rappaport. He's the acting director of the National Hurricane Center, but he's putting this into context for us. This is the worst, the most intense hurricane in the Atlantic, and potentially the disaster in Florida could be awful indeed. We'll get back to Ed Rappaport. The breaking news continues here. We're monitoring this monster hurricane, the killer storm barreling toward Puerto Rico, Florida tonight. Plus, President Trump's shocking deal with Democrats. Why did he buck his own party and blindside its leadership? The breaking news tonight, Florida's bracing for Irma, one of the most powerful Atlantic hurricanes on record. We're going to have much more on that, the latest forecast coming up. But first, there's more breaking news tonight. President Trump's surprise deal with Democrats to raise the debt ceiling, fund Hurricane Harvey relief efforts, a move that's said to have blindsided Republican leaders. Let's go to our senior White House correspondent, Jim Acosta. He's working the story for us. Jim, a pretty shocking move by the president.
That's right. Well, President Trump tried to clean up the mess left behind after his decision on the Dreamers. The president insisted to reporters he is not sending mixed signals, despite some pretty clear waffling on the subject. Perhaps more surprising, though, as you mentioned, was the president's sudden embrace of Democratic leaders on a plan to prevent a government shutdown this month. In doing so, the president bucked his own party, and we're told even his own Treasury Secretary. President Trump's message one day after terminating the program that shielded young undocumented immigrants from deportation, he would do it again.
No second thoughts.
Just hours after igniting an uproar, the president sounded as if he was wavering on the issue, tweeting, "Congress now has 6 months to legalize DACA, something the Obama administration was unable to do. If they can't, I will revisit this issue." Talking to reporters on Air Force One, the president denied he was backing down.
No mixed signal at all. Congress, I really believe, wants to take care of the situation. I'd like to see something where we have good border security and we have a great DACA transaction where everybody is happy, and now they don't have to worry about it anymore because obviously, as you know, before it was not a legal deal.
The president cited one surprising reason for his optimism, the potential for working with not Republican but Democratic leaders in Congress, namely Senator Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi.
Chuck and Nancy would like to see something happen, and so do I. And I said, if we can get something to happen, we're going to sign it, and we're going to make it. We're going to make a lot of happy people.
That's remarkable, given Pelosi and Schumer just blasted the president's decision on the program known as DACA.
We all agree that President Trump's decision to end DACA is a despicable act of political cowardice.
The president's decision to end DACA was heartless and it was brainless.
And after House Speaker Paul Ryan praised the president.
So President Trump was right in his decision. He made the right call.
But there were more surprises in store. Sources told CNN the president also blindsided GOP leaders as they huddled with their Democratic counterparts and Mr. Trump at the White House. The president shocked Republicans supporting the Democrats' plan to raise the nation's debt ceiling and avoid a government shutdown, pushing that deadline to December. Though Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell insisted afterward he was on board.
I will be adding that as an amendment to the flood relief bill that's come over from the House on the floor, and I'll be supporting it.
Republicans sounded so irritated by the meeting, one aide vented about Ivanka Trump's interrupting the gathering, saying, quote, Toward the end of the meeting, Ivanka Trump entered the Oval Office to say hello, and the meeting careened off topic. Republican leaders were visibly annoyed by Ivanka's presence. An aide to House Speaker Paul Ryan disputed that account, saying that's not true.
Come up, honey. Should I bring Ivanka up? Come on. She actually said, Daddy, can I go with you? I like that, right? Daddy, can I go with you? I said, yes, you can.
At a tax reform speech in North Dakota, the president seemed to touch on the upside-down day on Capitol Hill.
Mitch and Paul and everybody, Kevin, and we walked out and everybody was happy. Not too happy, because you can never be too happy, but they were happy enough.
Even with all that on the president's plate, the White House still has to keep an eye on the Russia investigation. Tomorrow, the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., is scheduled to meet with staffers on the Senate Judiciary Committee. One key member of that committee, Senator Dianne Feinstein, is insisting that Trump Jr. eventually testify in public to tell all he knows about the Russian meddling in last year's election. So despite everything else they're keeping their eye on here at the White House, they still have to pay attention to Russia.
They certainly do. Jim Acosta over at the White House for us. Thank you very much. As Jim just mentioned, Donald Trump Jr., he is scheduled to be interviewed tomorrow by staff.